Good evening, fellas. Today, I got this jersey on here featuring the NHL logo because I'm going to be talking about why hockey is the best sport to watch. Not so much why hockey is the best sport to play, I think that is the case, but I want to be a little bit more specific about why it is the best to watch. And watching and playing a sport are two different things. Like, I think tennis is fun to play, but not fun to watch. I'm not much of a golf enthusiast, but I can see why people want to play golf. I just can't see why people want to watch golf. So, with hockey, we're talking about why it's the best to watch. So, first off, let's start off with the fact that hockey takes place on freaking ice. It's slippery, and they're all on ice skates. And so the players, before they even touch the puck or pick up a hockey stick, they have to learn how to skate. It's really hard. They got to learn how to skate forward, and then they got to learn how to skate backwards. So that right there adds a lot into the game of hockey. And there's players who they're not the best at shooting, they're not the best at passing, they're not that physical, but man, can they skate. And skating, the movement system in hockey, if you master it, it can take you farther than mastering the movement system in other sports. Let's say like football or basketball or soccer, right? Because everyone's just kind of running. And like everyone can run, you can run a little bit better than other people, but there's some hockey players who can skate on a whole nother level compared to other skaters. And so that's just one of the reasons why hockey is the best sport to watch, because there's a lot of components to make it up. Is the skating, the shooting, the passing, the physicality, all things that you can watch out for besides the score, right? The score is cool and everything, especially with like other sports. You're kind of just watching for a score. There's not as much stuff that can happen. But with hockey, like I said, shooting, passing, skating, physicality, all that stuff is stuff you can also watch out for than just the score. And when it comes to the score, hockey has the perfect balance of like too much scoring, too little scoring, because you don't want it to be like basketball where they score every 3 seconds. The score is always in the hundreds, and the game's only interesting in like the final minute because that's when they're tied at like 121, and they're trying to figure out who's going to get that one extra point squeaking out at the very end. You also don't want it to be like soccer where they score too little and they'll score like once a game or they might tie. That's no good. Hockey, they have the right amount of scoring. There's also no tying, which is great. But when they score, you know that it could happen again very soon. Next 10, 20 seconds, they might score again. You don't know. So it keeps you watching, but it doesn't happen too much. So where that they do score, it's always exciting, right? No one goes crazy when they score in like the first minute of a basketball game, right? They only score in the end because that's really only where it matters. But hockey, anytime the score, it's exciting. The goals are great too. We'll get into that, why the goals are more fun to watch. So, talk about skating. And so the shooting. There's so much stuff they can do to score goals because they're on ice skates, so they're on the ice, they're moving fast and stuff. And the way they can move is different than like running and stuff like that. They can use their feet to do tricks and stuff like deeks. And then they also have the stick, which is like how they shoot the puck, and combining the stick and the feet, the stuff they can do, the moves they can pull off to score goals, it's endless. There's so much stuff they can do. That's why they have the shootout in hockey in a regular season game. After regulation time is over, they do 5 minutes of overtime, where it's 3-on-3 nowadays. No one scores there to go to a shootout, where each team takes turns starting from center ice and just with the puck, and they just skip to the goalie and take a shot, do a move. They only get one shot. Um, and so, yeah, that's why that exists, because it's so fun to watch because there's so many cool things they can do. There's so many great players who have excelled at the shootout, like Pavel Datsyuk or TJ Oshie. And something new is just there's so much fun to watch. If you look them up on hockey, YouTube, there's so many great hockey compilation shootouts. But anyway, so there's the shooting and the goal scoring, and there's so much more variety to it than like something like basketball, right? Where it's pretty much just all the same. Soccer, they can headbutt in, that's cool, but not as much stuff they can do there as I can do in hockey. Every goal in a game is going to feel pretty different typically. So that's one thing that makes it fun to watch. And then passing, the assisting, the stuff they can do to help other players get that goal. Basketball, right? I'm going to use basketball and soccer as examples. Basketball, they just kind of throw the ball to them. They might throw it on their back or something like that. Or make a really long throw, whatever. Soccer, they might like punt it up in the air, and it comes down somewhere else in the field, right? right by their teammate. That's kind of cool when they have that like massive arch, right? Um, or they headbutt it. That's cool. Hockey, they'll like pull it back and release it, or maybe just do a slap shot pass, just fire as hard as they can, but right in the person's stick. And like with how far they are, the speed they're going, like how their sticks are positioned, make some fantastic plays. When I think of assists in hockey, I think of the Sedin brothers. He played the Canucks, kind of like 2010s, and they would have like unreal passes. Like they were brothers. I think they were twins, so they always, at least brothers. I don't know if they're twins. I think they're brothers, but they always knew where each other were on the ice, so they could do stuff like do no look between the legs, like just through the legs, passes behind each other to the other brother, and like no one could see that pass coming, but they knew where each other was, so they wouldn't even look or anything. They'd be so deceitful. They'd pass and do crazy things like that. It's awesome. It's not just like the goals that are interesting; it's the passing as well. How they get those goals. There's so much great stuff that can happen. And then um, the fact that they're nice, they get a lot of speed, and then hockey is a full contact sport. They can hit each other. That's if you don't care about the scoring, you don't care about the passing or anything else like that, the skating, whatever. You can appreciate the physicality. Um, I'd say the hits are harder than football because they're going faster. And lacrosse, I'd say is more physical than hockey because lacrosse they can literally just they'll run each other over, and then when they're on the ground, they'll just whack each other with the stick, and they wear way less pads. So I'd say lacrosse is more physical, but hockey they have much more speed. So sometimes when they hit each other, just the body's flying everywhere. It's pure awesomeness. And there's so many great hits, so many great areas of the ice you can hit people, ways to hit people, stuff like that. It's just a good time. It's you can kind of watch it like that football mentality, or if you don't really know how the game works, so you can just watch them hit each other, and it's awesome. And also they can literally just stop the game, have a full-on fist fight in the middle of the ice, whatever, and just beat the crap out of each other, just in the face. Like everyone calls them like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. That's kind of what it is sometimes. So that's awesome. Not really any other sports you can do that in. So it's always fantastic when they do that. Everyone loves seeing it. So you've got the fact that they're on ice and they're skating around at high speeds. You've got the right amount of frequency of goal scoring, the way goals can be scored, the assists and passes and stuff leading up to the goals. It's great skating, great physicality, great hits, great fights. There's something for everyone in hockey when you're watching a game. You always find something to like about it. And also, the game is simple too. It's not like football, where I've been trying to get in football past like 1 or 2, 3 years, and um, I still don't really understand the rules that much. I haven't like looked up much, but it is a little bit hard to follow. Like I understand like the amount of points you get for scoring different ways, like where we like the run the touchdown, catch it, whatever, field goal, stuff like that. Um, but there's a lot of rules to football that I still don't really get. And also, I don't really understand why they take so many penalties. Like, there's so many penalties in football. Can we talk about that? There's so many penalties in football. Like, these are professional players who've been playing football their whole lives. You think they know how to not take a penalty, but the refs just hand them like all the time, and it's just too much penalties. It slows the game down so much. But anyways, hockey is really easy to understand, right? Especially the scoreboard. Baseball, there's crazy stuff everywhere. Football, also a little bit complicated. Hockey, they just have the amount of goals scored. Um, and they have the shots on goal. The recent broadcasts don't always have the shots on goal, shots on net up at all times. I'll have them like pop in and out of the scoreboard on screen. I find that annoying. You always got to show the shots on net because those can tell a different story. Because sometimes a team's winning 3-1, but they're being outshot like 40-20, so it can tell a different story. But that's really all you have. You got the timer, goal scored, and shots on net, and that's really all there is to look at. Or also like what the period is, 1, 2, 3, whatever. So it's really easy, accessible to look at and understand what's going on. Of course, there's fine rules and everything like there is with every sport. If you really want to like, do a deep dive into the rule book, but the essentials of like the rules of the game, very simple. Even icing, offsides, pretty easy concepts to understand. So that's my main summary. I could go on for longer, but I think you get the idea now. The main points of why it's fun to watch. It's also fun to play, but I just want to focus about what makes it fun to watch. It's definitely not the most accessible to play because it's one of the most expensive sports to play, and you got to learn how to skate first and everything before you can actually get in the game. It takes years of skating before you're going to play a real game. So, but it is super accessible to watch and the greatest to watch. And the Stanley Cup playoffs are going right now. The finals. Florida Panthers, Edmonton Oilers. They're playing tomorrow night at 8 on, I think it's 8 on ESPN on ABC on TV, on streaming services as well. They're heading to Edmonton in Canada. We got pretty good finals this year because Florida Panthers have never won the cup in like their 30 something years of existence. They went to the finals last year. They lost like 4-1 to the Vegas Golden Knights, who only came in the league until like 2017. So that's one like the fastest Stanley Cup wins for a team. After they come into the league, it takes a long time of pain and suffering. But what the league did with that year was they lessened the amount of players that teams could protect from being traded away. And so that was how Vegas Golden Knights were able to get a lot of good players, and they had a really good team, and they were crazy. Went to the finals in their first year in 2017, never been done before, unless you count like the beginning of the league when, of course, someone had to win the first year, right? Especially like the modern era hockey, unheard of. And then they won in 2023. They beat the Panthers single-handedly, or not single-handedly, but like very like it was definitive, I think is the right word there. But this year, yeah, Florida Panthers are back in it. And then against the Edmonton Oilers, who haven't won since like 1990 or something like that. Maybe it's 1993. I think it's 1990. They didn't win again ever since they traded Wayne Gretzky, the best hockey player ever, maybe the best athlete ever. And Canada hasn't won a Stanley Cup since I think like 1993. I think so. This is big for all of Canada right now. People associate hockey with Canada, but Canada doesn't win the cup anymore. It's usually American teams. So, yeah, we've got a great series going this year. I'm rooting for the Oilers because they got Connor McDavid on there, he's a fantastic athlete right now. He's like probably the best overall player in the league right now. And they got also great players in there like Draisaitl. They're also awesome to watch, Hyman. And the Panthers, I watched them like take out the trash in the early rounds of the playoffs. They took out the Lightning, they took out the Bruins, they took out the Rangers. So I was rooting for them there. But now that they're playing the Oilers, I want the Oilers to win. The Panthers, they're a really dirty team. Like I get why teams want to be a little bit more like on the edge in the playoffs because they're trying to absolutely hardest and everything they can make sure they win. But the regular season especially, they were just so dirty. They do so much unnecessary garbage that I just can't support. I like physicality and stuff, but it's got to be clean. I don't want like dirty crap, stuff that injures people. That's not cool. So I hope they get their butt kicked by Edmonton. Right now, they are winning the series 2-0. It's first to 4. So they have 2 games in hand. They only need 2 more wins, and they win the Stanley Cup. But they're in Edmonton now. So hopefully being home can give the Oilers the surge they need to put some more pucks in back in net and win some games. I would really love for them to win the series. If they don't win, so it wouldn't be too bad because at least you're watching franchise the Panthers get their first cup, which is always fun to watch, and not be something like a team that's won it so many times. Like watching the Lightning get to the finals 3 years in a row, they won the first 2 times. That was not that fun. But yeah, and the Stanley Cup, hockey has the best trophy. They have the best playoffs and they have the best trophy. Stanley Cup, thing's freaking enormous, and you can put your baby in it. You can drink beer out of it. They let the athletes do whatever they want with it basically throughout the whole summer, and they take all these places, do all these crazy things with it, and but they don't keep it like the baseball. They got the World Series trophy, whatever. They just kind of keep it at their stadium. Hockey, it gets passed down to a different team when the next team wins it the next year. So on that you have like all these rings, and if you win the cup, you get your team and like your season year and your name. Every player's name gets engraved on it. So there's a lot more, I think, to the trophy than other sports. Not so much that it looks cooler, but there's so much history to it. So many greats have touched it before you, and it's not something like the lacrosse trophy where I think they like redesign every year or something. They definitely this year they redesigned it, and it's kind of crappy looking. This cup never really changes. It's timeless, and it will forever be the best trophy in hockey. So yeah, my jersey team, I think I should talk about a little bit. It's the 2022 Metropolitan Team All-Star jersey. Custom made. We got the NHL logo on it. I thought I'd wear it because I'm talking about like why NHL hockey is the best sport to watch. But I do have a player on it. We got Tom Wilson, 43 for Capitals. I got like post up here to kind of show you. Yep, Wilson. There we go. I think the jersey looks dope, but Wilson's a great hockey player, a bit controversial, but he's on the Caps. Love the Caps. He's had some bad moments, but overall, I think he's a very awesome player. I love him, and this jersey is great too because this is the jersey he wore when he did the 2022 All Star Metropolitan game in Vegas Golden Knights, and the Caps played the Vegas Golden Knights in the Vegas Golden Knights' first year of existence, 2017-2018 season. And the Caps beat them to win the Stanley Cup. First time Caps won the Stanley Cup. That was awesome. And so they don't like each other. Caps, Golden Knights. That's how it's going to be. Especially Golden Knights don't like Wilson because he plays on the edge. And so the All Star game was in Vegas, and he scored like 13 seconds in to his Metropolitan game that they're doing because they have like different games for each teams, and they got like winners play the winners, and they win the thing. It doesn't mean much, but he scored 13 seconds in front of Vegas, and they're all booing him, and it was awesome. Like that's such a Tom Wilson thing to do. So yeah, I had to get this jersey. It looks so good. Um, that's all I really have for today. Like I said, Oilers Panthers game going to be tomorrow at 8, I believe. ESPN on ABC, and just give it a try. If you don't like it, that's okay, but give it a try. It's great stuff to watch. Trust me. And thanks for watching. Catch you next video.